Russia's invasion of Ukraine has inflamed tensions in the Balkans. There are divisions emerging over Moscow's role. Earlier, I spoke to Kosovo's president, Vjosa Osmani. I began by asking her how the conflict is being seen in the region.
We have been warning for quite some time that appeasement of autocrats and despotic regimes is not going to bring long-lasting peace in any region, in any part of the world. So obviously, while it is devastating to see the crimes that Russia has been committing against innocent civilians in Ukraine and the full-scale invasion that they have been committing for quite some time now, at the same time, I do hope that the world will learn a clear lesson that with autocrats, appeasement never works. Quite the opposite. It does bring the kind of destruction and the pain and the suffering that is now being seen among the people of Ukraine, a sovereign nation, an independent nation, a democratic nation that simply wanted to decide its own fate. So unfortunately, it seems that what Russia wants to push forward is an approach according to which a country can decide on the fate of its neighbors just because it has the military might. And obviously that is an approach that all of us should reject because it is against the democratic way of life and against the peace that has been so hard earned, especially in our part of the world. And I believe that if we would simply allow Putin to get what he wants, it is the end of democracy as we know it, is the end of the principles of international law as we know them. We should, therefore, countries big and small, work hand in hand to make sure that we stop what Russia is doing right now and we make sure that Putin's regime collapses.
Speaking of Russia getting what it wants, Ukraine's President Zelensky has indicated that Ukraine could take a neutral status, that is up for discussion. As the president of a nation which has firmly chosen a pro-European path, what's your take on that?
We obviously see the massive destruction and the pain of the people of Ukraine right now. And I do understand that the decisions of President Zelensky are aiming to protect the interests of the people of Ukraine. And most importantly, what is more important right now is that he is trying to bring peace and stop the war that is ongoing. As the president of the most pro-NATO and most pro-European country on earth, I have to say that Russia is absolutely going to continue with the same approach of threatening countries that if they choose a Euro-Atlantic path, they will act as they did in Ukraine. Because, for example, a couple of days ago, the Russian ambassador to Bosnia and Herzegovina said that if Bosnia and Herzegovina would want to join NATO, what awaits them is exactly what is going on in Ukraine right now. That was a direct threat not only against Bosnia and Herzegovina, but a direct threat for all the countries in our region or outside our region that would aim to join NATO. I think this should not stop us from working towards membership because NATO for us is not simply a military machine. It's a values-based system. We want to join it because of the values that it represents and because of the security that it entails and will bring to our region after we join it. So there's nothing that can stop us from continuing this path that we have started of joining the Euro-Atlantic family, which is the vision and the will of our people.
That NATO bid has been held up, of course, by some European nations who don't recognise Kosovo. Does it feel more urgent to you now, joining NATO?
It absolutely feels more urgent. I believe it's an imperative for all members of NATO to understand that Kosovo joining NATO is also an added value for NATO itself because it means more peace, security and stability for the entire region. When other countries in our region joined NATO, such as Montenegro, North Macedonia, Albania, it has brought more peace and stability to our region. So I believe that adding Kosovo and Bosnia-Herzegovina to this family of NATO would only bring better days for the entire region, which means better days for the entire European continent, more peace and more security for the entire continent. Obviously, we do understand that the four non-recognizers within NATO might have a problem right now, but I believe everyone, absolutely everyone right now, should see the open door policy from a security lens, from a security point of view. And if they see it that way, they will understand why it is important for countries of our region to join as well. We're ready to meet all of the criteria. And I think right now what we're doing is opening the political discussion with countries that are members of NATO, understanding that first we need to start with Partnership for Peace, PFC, and then move on with other steps. Because just imagine right now in Partnership for Peace, you have anti-NATO countries participating there, such as Lukashenko's Belarus or Serbia. Both of these countries state that they will never join NATO. Every single day they act against NATO values. Lukashenko is directly helping Russia. Serbia is not imposing sanctions on Russia, but they are part of PFP. So I believe it's about time that we get an invitation to at least join this mechanism to move on later on with bigger steps towards joining NATO.
Russia has accused the West of hypocrisy given NATO's actions in the former Yugoslavia. What do you say to that?
I believe that the truth is very clear and no one should fall prey for Russian propaganda. What happened in former Yugoslavia happened in front of the eyes of the world. It was courageous journalists that came over to Kosovo, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Croatia, and showed to people around the world what was actually happening. What was happening was genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes against innocent people waged by the butcher of the Balkans, Slobodan Milosevic, and his regime. His ministers are now leading Serbia. The president of Serbia now used to be Milosevic's minister of propaganda. So they're very good at propaganda and serving Russia in that regard. But I think that having seen the truth with our own eyes, and for us having been victims of that genocidal regime, the hypocrisy is always what we hear from Russia. But I wish it would only stop with hypocrisy. What Russia is doing is committing war crimes all over again. If there's a comparison that we can make right now, there's only one. And that is that Milosevic's crimes and Putin's crimes are the same. That is the comparison that the world needs to make right now, not the one that Lavrov and Putin are trying to make. NATO intervened in Kosovo to stop an ongoing genocide against the innocent people of Kosovo. Russia is waging an unprovoked war against the civilians and the innocent people of Ukraine.